Hi everyone, Shabbat Shalom. Thanks for joining me for another of our Torah Study programs. Again, don't have my magazine, although I did renew my subscription because I do like that magazine. But I've got the Star Wars novelization with me. It's one of my favorite stories. But I'm going to put this aside so we can focus on our Tanakh. I'm going to put on my kippot. I think I'm gonna put on this black one. This black sort of got the outline of Jerusalem, a very desert version of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is very much a city, of course. It would be neat to have like a skyline of the new city as well. I hope you've all had a good week. You've enjoyed the change in weather. It's been a bit cooler this week. It's been rainier. It's been very humid. I don't like that. Maybe you do. But fall is definitely on its way. All right, before we begin, as always, we say our blessing over the reading of Torah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of all, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage with words of Torah. All right, so this week, we're going to be reading out of Deuteronomy again. Remember, it's basically just Moses giving a real long speech to the people of Israel. And where is it? I thought I had it marked, but I forgot. There we go. Deuteronomy Chapter 30. I'm just going to read the last half of that chapter. All right. So this is Moses talking to the people. See that I set before you this day life and prosperity, death and adversity. For I command you this day to love your God, to walk in God's ways, and to keep God's commandments, God's laws, and God's rules, that you may thrive and increase, that the Lord your God may bless you in the land that you are about to enter and possess. But if your heart turns away and you give no heed, and are lured into the worship and service of other gods, I declare to you this day that you shall certainly perish. You shall not long endure on the soil that you are crossing the Jordan to enter and possess. I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day. I have put before you life and death, blessing and curse. Choose life, if you and your offspring would live, by loving the Lord your God, heeding God's commands, and holding fast to God. For thereby you shall have life, and shall long endure upon the soil that God swore to your ancestors, Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Rachel, Jacob, Rebekah, and Leah, to give to them. I read those a little out of order. Well, so there was a part in there where Moses says that he expects that the people are going to fail, that God is going to ask them to be good and follow all of the commandments, do all the mitzvot that we're supposed to do, and that they're not going to do it. It seems like a weird thing to tell a bunch of people right before you send them off into the land of Israel or anywhere, to say, hey, you should go there, and you're going to screw up. So often when we are starting something, we want to be really good at it. And we want to start something usually because we saw someone else do it. And we saw them do it really, really well. And we want to be there. But the only way that we can get to that level of doing something really well, or even doing something kind of well, is we have to fail. And we have to screw up. Because that's how we're going to learn the best. I don't know if you are... I don't know if you guys are Star Wars fans, but there's actually a line from the new movies that fits here where Yoda says that failure is one of the best teachers. He says it in his Yoda words, out of order, but whatever. But he says that failure is a really good teacher. It's one of the best teachers. And Judaism here says this as well, that Moses tells the people, we're going to go into Israel, and you're going to fail. You're going to screw up. And God is going to get real mad at you. But later on in the chapter, it says that's okay, because you're going to choose life, and eventually you're going to make the right choice, and God is going to welcome you back in, and it's all going to be hunky-dory, it's all going to be real good. And I really like that message, that whenever you're starting something new, to expect to fail and to not have such high expectations for yourself. And if you expect to fail, then when you do fail, you realize this is part of the process. This is going to happen. That's fine. I'm going to learn from it and I'm going to improve. I think that it makes it much more realistic rather than having a point of view of, I saw this person do it, they did it really well. If I don't do it really well right away, I'm not as good at them and I'm going to give up. Because I'm certain that if we talked to those people who can do something really well, they would tell us that they screwed up too. Obviously, to get to any high level of anything, think of something you're really good at. How did you get to like that? You probably practiced. You probably had to learn. You probably had to get better as you went along. So whenever you're starting anything new, don't focus on your goal. Don't focus on, I know that this is a weird thing to say out loud. I feel like I'm screwing up by saying it. But no, we're going to go with that. Don't focus on your goal. Focus on your progress. Focus on, I'm here. Yeah, I want to get there. But first I want to get here. And then I'll get there. And then I'll get there. And then I'll get there. And eventually you might get up to where you want to be. Or maybe you won't. But you're at least making progress. And you're better than when you started. And if you expect to fail, then when that failure happens, you can realize that it's all part of the process. And that it's not something to be discouraged by. So, with all that in mind, let's pull up our Debbie Friedman song. Remember, this is a song of healing, so if there's anyone who you know, who you would like to send some healing to, whether from the coronavirus or from maybe they're sick for something else, or they're just feeling lonely, or they need healing for, any number of reasons. There's physical healing, but there's spiritual healing, there's emotional healing, whatever. Now's a good time to think about that person or to think about yourself, maybe the needs that you have, and we will take these 2 minutes to reflect on that. Okay, so thank you all for joining me again for another of our Torah studies. If you have any questions about this or any other Jewish life stuff, feel free to email me at the Jewish Life email address. And otherwise, I look forward to seeing you all next week. And Shabbat Shalom.